So yeah, I think it's 2 past 2 now. So it's time to start rolling. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
Sreeram.
Yeah,
Sreeram.
good afternoon, audience too. So thank you all for attending and taking the time out to speak to us, the three panelists here, and also the audience for taking the time out to listen to what we have to say. So welcome to the session on Indonesian millennials. It's an extremely interesting topic. Before we start, I will begin with a round of introductions. I'll start with myself. My name is Sreeram, and I work for Neurosensum. I head up the qualitative research business for Neurosensum. And just a little bit about me. I've been in Jakarta for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I worked across the globe in Singapore, in Bangkok, in Dubai. So I'm a qualitative researcher at heart, led a very nomadic life, went from one place to another every few years. And I've always been doing qualitative research. So that's a little bit about me. In the free time, what I do is I do yoga and meditation, and like to sort of reflect on life and things. So that's me. So I'm joined by a bunch of very young Indonesian millennials. That makes me feel very ancient. I feel like I'm from the Stone Age. So what I'll do is I'll let you sort of introduce yourself if you don't mind. What we are going to do is the format of the discussion is more like a live conversation rather than question and answer. So you can say whatever you want to say. At the start, I would like you to introduce yourself, your name, what do you do, what work, what have you studied, what did you major in, and one more thing, and any interesting fact about your fun fact, which will give the audience a little peek into yourself. Okay. So let's get going. And this is not a classroom, so you can start wherever you wish. So who would like to start first? Go ahead.
Maybe I can go first.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isan. It pronounced as Isan, like electronic sun, Isan. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
it was a bad joke. I'm a bachelor from University of Indonesia, and I took a majoring in political science. And I'm currently working as a digital strategist at a creative agency, Jakarta-based. And like the publication, the title is Digital Strategist and K-drama series lover. Like this past 2 months, like maybe because the work from home routinity, like I'm start to watching the Korean movie, Korean series, and I'm really amazed with their culture, their tradition, and how could they make their culture become the worldwide culture, like we know K-pop that.
Yeah.
So I watched it called Reply 1988, and it was really interesting, and maybe everyone should watch it also.
Yeah, so you're into K-pop, Korean drama. Good. So that's Isan for us. And following Isan, who'll take the turn?
I can continue, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, yeah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Rossi. I actually graduated in 2016, so it was 4 years ago. I bachelored in economics, majored in accounting, and currently I'm working for a tech company, Tokopedia, as project manager for Tokopedia Academy. And I usually do singing quite a lot, and I love cooking too, as I'm originally from Padang, so for sure I cook a lot of Padang foods. I bet some of you guys love Padang foods, right? Who doesn't love Padang food though? And Another interesting fact about me, I'm actually a wanderlust. How I can say that? Because I really love to travel a lot. And actually, I've traveled to 18 countries within 2 years. So it was
Wow.
my greatest achievement actually to explore that many countries within a very short period of time, I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Very
about me. Thank you.
impressive. Yeah. Go ahead,
Hello.
Ketsa. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you're all fine. So let me introduce myself. My name is Gates Zafira Dinrita. Just call me Gates or Giget for short. And I'm a bachelor student at Coventry University in United Kingdom. I took business management as my major. Because I'm studying abroad, I decided to join a few organizations for Indonesian students. If you ever heard about PPI, it's like the Association of Indonesian Students in United Kingdom and also in Coventry. And the last one is the Association of in region America Europe, as I'm the manager of the communication area. Right now I'm quite busy. I'm running a very small business. It's like a Indonesian snack for frozen food. It just been for 2 days or 3 days. I forgot about it. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. If you ever heard about cireng, yeah, it's like that, but like the inside of the cireng with the toppings, such as cheese and everything like that. And I'm still learning how to manage my business to become bigger and bigger and to expand it. So I think that's enough for my
Well done,
introduction.
Getsa. Well done. So with that introduction, let me share my screen and introduce the topic to you. Yeah, so as the title suggests, we would like to today try and get a deeper understanding of Indonesian millennials. So before I start, we already did the round of introductions that the four of us. I'm the moderator, and what we're going to do today is speak to, of course, these three interesting bunch of people. But in addition, what we'll do is also share some of Neurosensum's learnings on Indonesian millennials. So the conversation with the three participants will be interspersed with some insights that we have sort of gathered through some work that we've done, qualitative desk work and also quantitative field work, so primary research. A combination of those two have given us a glimpse into the Indonesians' minds and hearts, and that is what we are happy to share with you today. So just some housekeeping issues. You can ask questions. You can click on the question and answer tab at the bottom, Q&A, and that will take you through this slide, this sort of a window where you can type in your questions and press send. And then your question will be posted. I will try and answer these questions at the very end or somewhere in the middle whenever it's appropriate. If I'm not able to answer your questions, we will, of course, get back to you separately and try and answer those through email. Yeah. So before we get started, a little bit on, we are talking about Indonesian millennials, right? This definition gets enormously confusing. We use terms like Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, baby boomers, and a number of things. So just to get that out of the way, what we mean by Indonesian millennials is basically we are looking at age group of 21 to 36. That's a debatable a little bit here and there. Some go all the way up to 38. Some start at the age of 20, 22 or 23. But for the sake of our own definition, we've looked at 21 to 36. Anything younger to 21 would be considered Generation Z. Anybody older than 36 would be considered Generation Y. If you're further older than that, maybe baby boomer generation, but that's sort of outside this particular age segment. So we are focusing on 21 to 36-year-old, and they are born between 1984 and 1998. And why are we interested in understanding this segment or this cohort is because they make up a massive proportion of the population. Indonesia population is about 270 million, of which a fourth of which is made up by this Indonesian millennials. They're all in the working age group at this point, or maybe just to the verge of starting their business like Gaitsa just did, or like just about to start working. Even if they're not working, they have access to pocket money, and they have big spenders. They have a lot of dreams, aspirations, and therefore this is the generation that any marketeer would want to get close to. All right, so just to frame how the discussion will start and why we're interested in Indonesian millennials, when we take any cohort or any segment, we feel that it's defined by certain large forces or economic and political and social changes that sort of define their characteristics. And specifically for Indonesian millennials, I think the three things that have happened. The first thing that's happened is that Indonesian millennials have been going through massive levels of urbanization. Indonesia is one of the largest and fastest in terms of urbanizing itself, higher than both China and as well as India. And by 2025, almost 64% of Indonesian population is likely to live in cities or in urban sort of towns and areas. So which means that what it is to live in a village or a kampung or a simplicity of rural life is something that Indonesian millennials would have long forgotten, or they're going through that huge cusp of change from kampung lifestyle to fast-paced urban lifestyle. That's number one. Number two, and we are going to talk about this a lot more later on, this generation is hyper-connected because of technology. But ironically, they also seem to be quite disconnected in a number of ways. As I said, we'll speak about this, but there is a sense of disenchantment with technology. It feels connected, but also at the same time feels disconnected. So that has also brought on a lot of change. And more recently, and something that is still happening, is the pandemic. This has ruptured the way we live, the way we socializing, the way we are working, and it has caused enormous change in our lives. So these are the three big things that are shifting in the way Indonesian millennials are thinking about themselves. And that is what is causing a lot of collision or conflict with what we knew and what we must know. In a sense, it is about what we knew collectively as an Indonesian society, as a family, as tradition, as religion, versus what it means to us as individuals. You know, who am I in this world around me? Where is my standing? Where is my place? Who am I? So those individual values versus the collective values are in a state of conflict, brought on by those three big changes that have happened in their lives. The second thing is also in the way millennials are thinking about themselves. Do I express who I am completely, or do I stick to the collective norms and sort of reflect and control myself and be careful about who I am and what I say and how I project myself? So again, the freedom of expression is in collision with the need for reflection, need for control. So therefore, the rules of engagement have changed. The way you have to conduct your business, the way you have to lead your life have changed. So that is leading to new identities, new ways of defining who we are, new life themes, and consequently new coping mechanisms and new strategies. Because life is, after all, full of stress, and there's a way of dealing with those stresses. Okay, so that said, I'm going to come to the first part of the conversation, which is around how are Indonesian millennials seeing themselves? How do they describe themselves? What we did is to the three participants today, I had set out a question right at the start before we started the session a few days ago. And that was question around saying, how do you guys describe yourself? In research, typically, as you all must be familiar, we do research through focus group discussions and in-depth interviews. But I think it's time for us to look at Indonesian millennials in a slightly different way, in terms of researching them. They love to talk about themselves, so it's best left to them in terms of bringing their own lives into our offices, into our boardrooms, into our context. They can pretty much, they're very good at technology, they're very articulate, so they can present themselves in their own way. So one of these questions is what the three participants responded to, and what they've done is they've created some PowerPoint slides, and I have many more questions, and for each one they have a PowerPoint slide. So I'm going to so in that question, it was not a straightforward question, because as a qualitative researcher, I don't normally ask a straight direct question. I'd like to try and do a trick question. So here we have a set of facial pictures that I gave to them, and I asked them to choose a picture that describes themselves. So this is what is called a projective exercise, and I'll come to that a little later in terms of details. So of the three participants, we have one participant who does not wear a hijab. So typically for a non-hijaber, we show non-hijab wearing non-hijaber facial photographs. And these are photographs that we've just taken out of the internet. There's nothing, no rocket science behind these. So, so A to H, these were the pictures that were shown to Getza, and chose one of the pictures, and I come to that a little while later. For Rossi, I showed these set of pictures, and she chose one of those. Again, I'll come to that in a bit. And for Isan, I had these set of male pictures. All right, so now let's see, let's look at what Getza chose. She chose picture number D. And this is a slide she wrote in her own words. It's best presented by Getza herself. So Getza, over to you, and describe yourselves to the picture.
Okay, so Sreeram already gave the, a few pictures, and I choose this picture because I can see like it is defined of who I am. So let me describe it, why I choose this picture. The first one is humble. I feel like this person like down to earth and nice to anyone, which I am, hopefully. And the attitude, if you ever heard about the Javanese culture in Indonesia, to look down, as the respect to someone, especially for the older one, is like to anyone. It's not only for people that you know, like it's for stranger as well. So it's like you shaking your head to down, like doing like that, like a movement.
Yeah.
And for me, attitude and manners, it's so important. As long as you have the attitude and manners, all the good things will follow you. And passionate. Look at her eyes, like when the eyes is like focused on something, it's like she's focused on the goal that has been set. So we'll do it, all of it, with all of heart and put effort on it. Even though that the progress might be like, affecting the progress, such as the problems, but like still enjoying it.
Yeah.
And also I am the work in silence. For me, it's not necessary to tell anyone what I've been doing, what I've been working. I prefer to say it when I already finished or make sure everything is done. Because can you imagine, like, if you fail during what you're doing, it's like embracing yourself. So I'm just trying to avoid those things. And also strength. I can see that like the person is tough, like realizing the problem that might be appear in every possible way in every part that you take, but as long as you are tough and smart to solve the problems, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. What Getza has chosen to describe herself is she's used words like passionate and tough and smart, but they coexist with words like humble, respect for elders, the Javanese culture, working in silence. So there's a part of her which is expressive, which is passionate, which is focused, which is very much an individual trait, versus the collective trait of being together, being respectful, and working in silence. So that's Getza. We'll come to that in a little while as to how we analyze that later on. And over to Rossi now.
All right, so I chose this picture because this picture is pretty much explain how do I look and how do I express myself. So as you know, I'm wearing hijab, and the color of the hijab and the color that I'm wearing is also actually one of the most favorite color of mine. And also what I like about this picture that described me in person is the way she smiled, because I'm used to be one of the girl who likes to smile with my teeth shown. So I have a really big smile, and I smile quite a lot, just like the picture itself. And also from what I observe, this picture and this woman's expression shows joy, positivity, and excitement. So it's like something that always bring this spirit that I'm usually always into it, you know, like, because I like to get along with a lot of people. And she also shows this positive look and excitement towards whatever happened in front of her.
Yeah. So you remind me, Rossi, of Miss Congeniality.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving forward to Isan.
Okay, actually, the picture beside is not really look like me. Like, he doesn't wear any glasses and he doesn't wear any mustache or beard. But from the picture beside, it resembles me in the other way. Like, the impression from the guy is he's kind of purely enjoying his life. Like, his smile is very pure, and it was a generous smile. Like, from the selection, the picture selection, there are some models, there are some handsome men, there are some muscular men, and there are models, and it shows that they're pretentious. They're not doing the actual thing from their daily basis. Like, they want to look some fierce wannabe. So from that explanation, I would say that I'm a type of person that really avoiding pretentious thing, and I do what I like to do, and I always say what I want to say. But on the other hand, I always try to please everyone, and I maybe the easiest way to please everyone is to give that pure smile like that.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think Ihsan likes to describe himself somebody who's very natural, very himself, genuine, not at all pretentious, and a natural self. Okay, with that, what we'll do is, before I move into analyzing and what that means to us, I would like the audience to take a shot at this. I'm going to launch a poll. In the audience, there may be people who are not wearing a hijab. I'm assuming most of the audience is a millennial audience. So if you could find yourself in one of those pictures and choose a picture. I'm so going to launch a poll now. So which one would you choose of the 3 plus? Yeah, just choose the. Yeah, I'll have to. So to take a moment to look at the. You can turn. Yeah, you can shift your box on your screen to look at the pictures and choose. Yeah. I'm going to close the poll in a few moments. All right. I'm closing it now. So to just share the results, right now we have E and F are almost neck to neck, followed by G. I'll come to that. So E, F, and G. So you might want to take a look at E, F, and G, the bottom three here. So we move to the next question. So those who are wearing a hijab in the audience, who would you identify with? So I'm going to launch another poll for those who are wearing a hijab. Just a second. Which poll? Yeah. So can you choose a picture for yourself? I end polling. So there's almost a tie-up between B and F, and then followed by A. And, yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing these results and launch the third poll, which is for the men in the audience. Sorry, I have to show the pictures. One moment. Just hold on. Yeah, these are the pictures. Hope you can see the pictures. You can move around the box on the screen with your mouse to take a look at the pictures. So, alrighty. So I'm going to end that poll. Share results with you. So you have G followed by E and B. So I'm going to stop sharing the results now and move forward into the presentation. So you've chosen various pictures, right? So just as the way the participants chose. So how do you make sense of it? So I'm going to start with a little bit of a framework. So why have we done this? So what we have is at Neurosensum, we have something called the ArcheSense framework, which is based on archetype model, which is a psychological model. So on the x-axis, you see the individual on the left side, which is basically me and my needs, who am I in this world, versus in the right side, who are we, the collective side of every person. So anytime in your life, given any context, any circumstances, there's a part of you that is about your ego, that is me, versus who are we as collective group, whether it's a family or a society or friends, how are we bonding together? So that's part of we. On the y-axis, you have the bottom, the need to control your emotions and impulses, which is more thoughtful, reflective, sort of internalized drive, versus the top where you feel the need to express who you are. You want the freedom, you want to participate, you want to let go. So that's the expressive side of the continuum on the y-axis. So traditionally, Indonesia has always been in this quadrant at the bottom right, which represents safety and familiarity because it's a collective society. But because of all the forces that we're experiencing, especially the millennials, some millennials are moving upwards on the top right, which relates to being connected, being collaborative, but at the same time being expressive. Okay, not controlling stuff. On the other hand, there are millennials who will say, I want to experience life, I want to explore life, I want to be creative, I want to be who I am, and so on and so forth. That's on the top left. Finally, there are people like Getzard said, she wants to be silent, she wants to be focused, doesn't want to display or things like that. So there is a sense of being in control of yourself. You want to control your impulses. So you could be one of the four, and I'm not trying to I'm not slotting you in one pigeonhole or the other. Any kind of context, any kind of situation, you could react from one or the other areas primarily. At a personal level, the exercise I just did, at a very simplistic level, it indicates that if you were to plot all those pictures, gets us, but started by talking about how progressive, how smart she is and focused and all of that. So large part of what she said tends to be on the top left. So that for the hijaber, I think a lot of the others who have expressed themselves are expressed E, F, G, EF being the most dominant ones. But for Getza, she's in the top left. I'd imagine a number of you would be also on the left side of the continuum more likelihood. I don't remember F and G, but most of, if you can sort of recognize yourself, you will see where you fit on the sort of map. Again, this is not a astrological prediction or a personality prediction and oversimplifying it. It depends on the context. It depends on the situation that you're in. In this particular case, Getza tends to be in the top left. On the other hand, both Rossi and Isan have described themselves as being humble and smiling all the time. Showing my teeth is what Rossi described herself as. Isan also said he speaks from his heart. He's very transparent. Both of them displayed a lot of collective values. So in a way, they're group oriented, and they also sit on the top, but on the top right. Overall, our sense is that most of the Indonesian millennials are moving from the bottom right quadrant, which they were originally as a collective, and are moving on the expressive side of the continuum. Whether that's on the we side or the me side depends on the context. All right. So, sorry. So that's a little bit of what we did in the exercise. Now, what I'll do is, moving forward, in addition to that question, we also asked the question about, I gave a set of pictures, abstract pictures this time, to respond to the three participants. I asked them to describe a moment in their life when they were very happy. And, that happiness, the joy they felt or the pleasure they felt, we said, if there was a picture that represented that sense of emotion or happiness, which picture would that be? And the pictures that we gave to them were these. So in ArcheSense framework, we can use pictures of abstract paintings or nature or sculptures or animals, depending on what we are doing. And we use that as a projective tool. And we have a host of images in the company, which we use from time to time, depending on the context and the brand and the category that we are exploring. In this case, we asked the respondents, the three of the participants, to describe what happiness means to them. And so I'll let the first person, Rossi, describe her picture, which was the title C. So Rossi, over to you.
Sorry, I think that is mine.
Oh, sorry, Getza. If it's yours, Getza, over to you. Sorry, that was the wrong, wrong labeling.
So,
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna explain why I chose this picture, because first of all, I like this color, the red and blue. And why I said ice and fire, ice and fire is like the opposite meaning. So it's like when you try to fulfill your happiness or to get satisfaction, that first thing that you need to do, that you need to work harder and put effort for what you're doing. And at the end, all the struggles and the problems that you've facing is like worth it. It just pass and you will enjoy the result. So ice and fire, like the fire is your passion, is like what like the progress, and the ice is like the relief after you got the result.
Yeah.
So and the second point I said burst, it's like you know, once something makes you happy, it just touch your feeling,
Yeah.
or heart to be exact, and it feels like your heart ready to burst, like
Yeah.
it's like confetti, like
Yeah.
boom, something like that.
Correct.
So and the top point or the last one is atom. If you saw this picture, on this picture is like there's a circle, like a circle, a small circle with the light blue.
Mm.
So I could say that it's a small particle in the middle that only tools such as microscope could help to see it.
Right.
So the tools is help like to zoom in out or zoom in or zoom out. For
Mm.
for me, happiness could find it anywhere and anytime or everywhere. It
Yeah.
depends on your perspective. If you're more grateful, it's like you're zooming the item of itself. So back at it again, I said happiness, it's like the way how you see it, it's like the perspective of it. So
Yeah. So what I get out of that description is that the happiness for Getza is this heart bursting sort of happiness, and it's this energy that's released and experienced and all of that, and it's very well captured in that picture there. And she's also talking about happiness is subjective. It is happiness depends on the person and the perspective. So you could search for happiness in whatever you're facing with. So it's not like happiness has to be constant. It is up to the person to read meaning and happiness, derive it from any circumstance. So that's Getza. So let me then take this to Rossi. Yeah, Rossi.
All right. So I chose this picture is simply because I love the colors. I'm so much into pastel colors. So all this like soft tones of the colors are those that makes me get this calmness and harmony. So when it comes to happiness itself, I could say that it's all about the way how I feel about certain situations. So I'm more into focusing on how actually I think about something that makes me satisfied and can get this piece of joy inside of me. And also, like, even if I look at this picture, I could say that most of things that I could see, that I could visualize are all based on this color. So it's kind of something that connects a lot to me and gives me this balance and harmony. So that's how I present happiness.
Unlike the previous picture, this one has a lot of pastel colors, and the terms that Rossi is used to describe happiness for her is harmony, peace, calmness, as opposed to burst and fire, ice and fire, this contrasting sort of energy burst that you saw in the case of Getza is very different from how Rossi is describing. So interestingly, what we have is similar, same picture chosen by Isan. And you can see the terms that is used to describe it. So Isan, over to you.
Okay. The basic is I'm gonna feel really happy or satisfied when I'm freedom. So with the abstract and the simple color, it shows the freedomness, and there's no limitation to express myself. And when I can set up my own limit based on my capability, and those simple scratches from the abstract paint resemble the freedom too, and the scratches couldn't categorize by any form. Also, the colors are really diverse, but they have tone similarities. So the meaning of the diversity of the form is the freedom to express myself.
Yeah.
But it stay simple with the pastel color.
Yeah. So what's interesting for me, for when Isan described it, is that he's of course described it in a sense of freedom, but there's also tone similarity, which is, it's not the freedom in the way that you are sort of running around or being like, it's not like a burst of variety of colors and all that. There's some degree of similarity, but there's some degree of dissimilarity as well. It's not like you're completely letting go, but at the same time, you're letting go in a way, you know. So there is a sense of harmony, but there's a sense of diversity also in that picture. So which is a interesting way of describing happiness. So, I'd like you to take a shot at this as audience. So I'm going to launch the poll again. So this time, so the next, yeah. So which one would represent your sense of happiness? So I'm going to launch the results, share the results, end poll, and share results. So you can see that there's a lot of which is similar to what Ihsan and Rossi picked up, and then followed by C, which is the burst of colors which Gates had picked up, and closely followed by B, which is also sort of a lot of colors there. But what do they mean? Which is what I'm going to describe now. Yeah, so typically if you were to plot those colors on the top, on the right side is where harmony and expression and joy reside. On the left side of the top is where you have the heart bursting with energy and joy. And the one, some of you have chosen another picture, which is this picture on the bottom left, which is the one which signifies pride and purpose and a sense of achievement. So you can see that even within us in the small audience, you see a lot of us residing on the top. At least all the participants we have on the table are residing on the top. There are some of you in the audience who are residing on the left side, but nobody is on the bottom right. So which is interesting again. So which suggests that the market and the culture is moving away from the safe familiar zone on the bottom right and residing into the other three quadrants. So yeah, so that was a little bit of a game. So coming to the more serious part of the topic. So what does it mean to us, and what are the dominant millennial themes that we are seeing? And this is part of the work that we have done at Neurosensum. We see four kinds of things emerging, four big themes. The first one being self-acceptance and tolerance. The second one being success is individually defined. 3 is social collaboration leads to safety. Finally, technology means freedom and self-expression. So I'm going to unpack each of these to you now in quick succession, interspersed with respondent or our 3 participants' views on those. I'm going to start with, like I said, initially the culture used to reside at the bottom right. Now it's started spreading out its wings, and it's now residing in all those 3 quadrants. Self-acceptance and social collaboration reside on the top right. Technology and freedom resides on the top left. Success is individually defined. It is me who decides how I'm successful. That's on the bottom left. It's myself decides that. So that's why you heard Gaitsa saying, I'm silent when I'm successful. You've heard how Ihsan said, I will accept my limitations and decide what success means to me. You know, and then there was a mention also of technology. So we'll go into those details now. So the first one, I sort of want to describe this in one slide and explain what it means. Self-acceptance and tolerance is a theme where Indonesian millennials seem to be much more comfortable with who they are in their own skin. I told you this already. I'm like a dinosaur, you know, I'm like an oldie amongst all of you. But when I was young back then, we always aspired to be like somebody else. You know, we always role model ourselves I want to be like my dad. I want to be like so and so. I want to be like that person in my family who's so enormously successful. But Indonesian millennials might have role models. I'm not saying no, but they seem to be less about others and more about, hey, I know what I am capable of, and I accept who I am, and I'm comfortable in my own skin. What that therefore means is that second point there is, it means that Indonesian millennials are not as attached to labels as the previous generations. For example, they're not so much into artificial glitz and glamour and material consumption and money and fame and houses. And I mean, of course they want all that, but it's not like they're going to give up everything in their life to get there. So they're very happy to say, okay, if I don't get that, I might get something else which might make me happy. So that thing about the one that, again, the perspective part that gets a mention, perspective, that I see happiness that I seek in every situation. So happiness in what you have is important to Indonesians. So they're not aspiring to get somewhere else. They're happy in the moment where they are. As long as it makes them happy, that is what it is. And so therefore they're embracing their natural selves, which is what you saw even Rossi saying, I want to be in my natural self. I love wearing a hijab. I like to wear this pastel colors. I want to show my teeth. This is my natural, genuine self, which is what was also reflected in the way Ihsan talked about himself. So they used, and also we see a lot of them actually embracing a lot of natural products also, as opposed to products which transform you, so they're not expecting you to be transformed overnight, skin color, your skin tone, blemishes on the skin and things like that, or your hair becoming suddenly all of a sudden silky. And so they're saying, okay, my hair is curly. Yes, it will remain curly, So within that curly hair, how can I look beautiful? Or with my skin, which is sort of naturally God-given, how can I make it more flawless, instead of saying, how do I change my skin tone or color or things like that? People are looking for more authentic beauty definitions, and happy to be with that. And importantly, they are looking at creative ways of celebrating who they are and finding themselves in that celebration and living in harmony in that sort of acceptance. Our quantitative results also sort of mimic or sort of support and corroborate the same themes. There is an increasing dependence on religion for guidance. You can see that 39% are depending on religion. Many people are wearing a hijab. 23% are adopting a traditional appearance. You can see that 41% on the right side are tolerant of diverse thoughts. So they're able to live with diversity, which is what Ihsan also mentioned in his sort of description. So they're maintaining their friendships, the social network, yet they're being there who they are. They agree that there's a need for tolerance and harmony. So I asked, one of the other questions I asked all the three of them was to say, how are you different from your previous, say, parents' generation? And Getza says that, Getza, do you want to sort of describe how you're different from your parents?
Okay. First of all, I'm sorry, my dad and my mom is here on Zoom. So if I say something bad, I'm really sorry. So first, I say all the millennials are more up to date. Like they know something new really fast, and like there's always a new like application coming up. Like this year is like trending for TikToks, and every millennials I think using that, and they easily to adapt from each part of social media or even technology. They easy to understand how to use it. And adaptive, it's like they easy to adapt to new environments.
Yeah.
So
and create. So that's easy to understand, Getza. Just go ahead and tell us a little bit about creativity.
Okay. Easy to adapt to an environment, and the third one is creative. Like they make something new, not following the trend, but they put their fresh idea into one. It's like so different between the millennials and earlier generation. For example, for making business, all the millennials like just meet up with some friends, bunch of groups, and they make a plan for making business, something like that. But in earlier generation, I think they're more stiff. They're like they don't have any strength to like to do something new, they always like being stable to doing that. They just like, let's say, just work in the office, something
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
And millennials are more open-minded. They're like less judgment, less envious and sportive. What I say, like, all we're living in the world, like there's a lot of differences, the colors, like personality, or everything. And I think all the millennials can accept that and support um people with the differences, because they know being different is not weird, it's not a threat to anyone. So they support what for us human being. But sometimes in earlier generation, they don't accept the
Yeah.
differences, so they're like more judgment, I think.
Yeah. The
Something
great
like that.
point. It's that's interesting. Very interesting. So I move forward to. There's a lot here. Rossi has written. So
Yes.
can you pick a couple of points and explain, Rossi? Because I'm interest of time, just a couple of points. Yeah.
Yep. So it's very interesting actually when you talk about millennials and how actually we different from the previous generation, especially our parents. I've read one of the article, very good one, about Indonesian millennial types that was done by ID and Research Institute. So if everyone wants to know more about these points that I wrote about what types of millennials in Indonesian are, so please go through this so you can know more. But what I can highlight here is firstly, from the lifestyle point of view, what I can say, Indonesian millennials are right now mostly influenced by the fast and easy information that we got. So we're pretty much exposed to a lot of information through the social media and technology that we can actually freely access in our daily basis.
Yeah.
And this actually what makes us becoming more creative and have more alternative in defining what kind of lifestyle that is possible for us to do. While
Yeah.
in comparison with the baby boomers, I can say that even my parents, for example, they still are very strict to this, some restrictions and conservative principles that was taught from the
Yeah.
elder or from their parents about how life should be, or what kind of tradition that needs to go, that needs to be that's not to happen
Yeah.
in the society and stuff like that. And also the other thing related to this decision making. So as millennials, we are actually smarter in filtering information that we receive from the internet or social media. So because we like to compare stuffs and we like to find out like the truth about some news, because like media can be very confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
And at some point, different in a comparison with the baby boomers, it's still difficult for them to filter such information. So if you ever heard that most of the hoax information were actually spreaded by your parents through
Yeah.
WhatsApp group and stuff.
All right.
So that's one of the things that I found it very contrast on how actually we filter information and
Yeah.
how actually we use those information to support our some daily issues and problems. So yeah,
Thank
and
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that pretty much I think one of the big
Yeah. Yeah.
differences that we're facing as
Yeah.
an Indonesian.
So let me go to Isan. Isan, yeah.
Okay. It's kind of simple, I think, because every generation has their uniqueness, and that makes us different with them. Like, so we feel the generation gap, and I think it's one of the main factor which really differentiate the millennials is the development of the technology
Yeah.
itself. Like the improvement, it really shapes our culture as a millennials. Technology helps us to have an unlimited access of information.
Yeah.
So the pace of information push us to up to date each day and every day. And while some people from the earlier generation, like my parents or some elders, like still using the conventional ways or using conventional logic to gain the information.
Yeah. Thank you. So just to sum up that section, so what we heard is that the generation now is creative, open-minded. That's number one. They're accepting of themselves and others who are different from themselves, diversity. They're being themselves and natural and authentic. They're free and easygoing. They're not conventional. They're not bound by rules and regulations. They're much more easier and freer in the way they conduct themselves, and they're much more up to date and informed. So these are the main things that you're getting through in this segment of the conversation. So I move forward into the next one, which is an interesting one, and this is success is individually defined, and we've talked about this already. I think success by Indonesian millennials is defined by themselves, and it's not given to them by somebody else, and they're not craving for something else, so they're more into, I will define it for myself, what is happiness, and therefore what is successful. So I'm not be defined by material acquisitions. I will not be defined by whether I come first in class or get a six-figure salary or things like that. It's much more than that. And the last point there is extremely important. Success is not about yourself. Success is also about making a social impact. And we see that sort of being reflected in some of the posts that Indonesian millennials have posted on social media. It's not about having a car, a lot of money. It's not about being ambitious, but about being grateful. It's not about expecting too much. We should be self-aware, fight and hope as necessary, be grateful as much as possible. So that again goes back to our quantitative questionnaire, where everyone has their own success journey. So that is what 78% of the people said. Success should be measured by happiness and not money. So that's the second one. So you can see how it's reflected even in the quantitative numbers. Then further down, success is individually defined by, it doesn't feel good at all working for other people. Better open your own business. So if you want to be employed, and Indonesians do not think of themselves as being employed with somebody else for a long period of time. Already gets us started to have our own business. You see a lot of Indonesians, younger people aspire to they have their own business. I'm a worker and currently thinking to switch to becoming a business person. So you can see that success is not about having lots of money, but when my money becomes useful to the others, then it becomes success. So that's social impact. So you can see, Rossi, what are our dreams? Rossi, would you like to quickly go through, in the interest of time, just one or two big points, Rossi?
Yep. So when I speak about goals, I usually define it into two terms, the short one and the long one. Short terms, professionally, I want to have my own team where I can actually help them to unleash their best potential. So, because I'm very passionate about youth leadership and stuff, so I really want to have my own team one day when I can lead them and spread a lot of impact together. And personally, I might be a bit different from the other stereotypes that people have about millennials who just like to travel but not saving money for housing and stuff. I am more into, I'm trying to find the balance between that. I like to travel, but I also know that I need to save some money for stability. So I want to have my own house one day in the short term. And professionally, in the long term, I want to be a professional coach because I like to get along with a lot of people, and I like to try to help them to activate their potentials.
Yeah.
So yeah, professionally also, and hopefully I can make it happen. I want my retirement to be very useful to manage an organization of an orphanage, so I can try to help the more people possible.
Yeah. So Rossi has been echoing a lot of social impact, like helping others, opening an orphanage. Even when it comes to owning a house, she wants to create her own version of the house. She wants to design it her own way. So it's a lot of that. It's not so much the pride of acquiring, but the whole idea of creating something that is your own. Isan, yeah, move forward.
Okay. I'm kind of person that not only stick to one plan. My goals and dreams are still changing day by day. And I'm sure that I'm still young. And maybe it changed based on what I see, what I learn, what the people I meet, my needs, my family needs. So it's really flexible. And I think I do need a time to sit a while and think about what I want to be and where I want to go, like that. And beside of the financial goals, I've dreamed to become a political consultant expert. I guess I'm crawling to my career, dream career. Like I'm studied at political science, and I'm now working as a digital strategist in a content creator company. So I will develop my skill and stuff.
Yeah.
To prepare my dream job.
Yeah.
I think why do I choose a political consultant? Because my happiness is when my ideas that adored by people. So when I give a political strategy or political ideas on a campaign, and the people will influence to choose one or two the selection, or maybe the president or maybe the governor, it makes me satisfied and makes me happy also.
Great, Isan. All right, so Getsa.
Okay, so for me, goals and dreams like the opposite. Like the goals like more the short term, and the dreams like the long term with the long progress as well. So in the short term, perhaps in 1 or 2 years, for me, it's graduate on this November. Hopefully, the pandemic thing will be done, so I can graduate, and to open small business, which I already made it,
Started
but I'm
already.
still learning how to expand it to become like better and bigger, and continue my master in UK because it's only take for a year. So hopefully it will become. And the dreams is my make airlines company because when I was little, I have like dreams to become a pilot, but like I cannot become a pilot right now in the real life.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to make an airlines company instead, which is in the same environment, I think, like the same area.
Yeah.
And can help poor people. It's like more generalized, but like to be specific, it's like helping homeless, because I think a lot of people didn't have place to stay, so I really want to have like a shelter for them to stay at at a place so they don't feel like hot or even raining, something like that. And also I want to help them like to cut numbers of people hunger, because I know like on the news there's a lot of people that died because like dying and because of hunger, like they did eat for days, and I was so sad about it, so I really want to help them. And also I really want, if I'm able, I really want to help the children's, which are to give them a best education for them for free, because all those children that might able to to continue our generation. So let's say we're preparing the next generation for what we're doing right now. Maybe they can fix all of the problems, and maybe they like more bigger, something like that. And also I really want to open the employment, because like numbers in Indonesia, there's like a quite big of number on unemployment.
Sure.
I want to help them to have a job.
Yeah.
And if you ever heard like I think in economic theory, if you're the number of the unemployment is decreasing, so the number of the economy of the country is will growing, like, it will like go up. So
Sure.
I'm also like helping as a human being, but I'm also helping the country. So yeah, that's my
Thank you, Getsa. So you've seen a number of common themes there. I want to be my own boss, my business. I want to make a social impact. That was a big thing across all the three participants. I want to learn and grow is another thing that we hear very often. Millennials saying they don't stick to one job because they want to move from one job to another flexibly, like what Ihsan was saying. As they go through each part, they're learning and growing. They want to use their creativity and want to keep things flexible and easygoing. So that's success for them. Then there's an interesting thing about social collaboration. Indonesian millennials would like to be connected and collaborative. And this connection is what makes them feel safe. And within that, whether they're with friends or family or whatever, it makes them feel safe and well connected. You can see a lot of millennials sort of forming groups around music or sports or games or even religion, and a lot of them are part of such networks and communities, and it provides them a sense of identity, a group identity, and also gives them support and safety. you see sports community, group bands, environmental groups, and so on and so forth very often. Then you can see that they're very highly active on social groups, even quantitatively. If you want to achieve big goals, you need to be together. So there's a sense of collectivity there. You were part of a community, 43% said that. 38% have, I like to go for work, JB for work, sharing services and things like that. So a whole lot of things around conducting your life through social network and groups. So I just wanted to ask you here one tricky question to all the three participants very quickly. What comes to what are your biggest fears in life? What could go wrong according to you, and especially in the current pandemic situation? Just one line or so. We don't have too much time, so just give us a sense of what are you most afraid of. Anybody can go. Getsa, you can start.
Okay, I will start. So there's like two things of my biggest fears, which are lies and fail.
Right,
Because
I tell you.
yeah, lies and fail, because it's like you don't want to make anyone, like family or friends, disappointed, and it I don't know, like it make myself more anxiety anxiety increasing in anxiety, and also like insecurity is
Right.
increasing
Yeah.
as well. So
Okay, Rossi, what would you say?
In my case, I may be afraid of losing my confidence and joy within me, because sometimes when I'm overthinking, I started to get stressed, and it will be really hard. It will be really harmful for my future health condition. So I'm trying myself to be really cool and peace in solving every situations and
Yeah.
problems.
Is this pandemic making you even more stressed, you think?
At the beginning, I think yes, but now I try to figure it out. What can I do in order to keep myself sane? So
Yeah.
I'm getting well right now. Like,
Sure. Okay. Isan, you go next. Quickly on what are you feeling now?
Okay, I'm a type of person who work collaboratively. So because I think the best idea is when your idea get a feedback, get a comment, and criticize. And within this pandemic situation, we go to the work from home activity, work from home, because we have to adjust adjust more our workflow with our coworkers. So maybe it maybe changes and maybe it kind of make us have to adjust again.
Sure. So what you heard, therefore, this social collaboration is a big theme. Together we win. We can fight anything. Together we support each other. We criticize each other. So you already, yes, in Isan's own words, you heard that. You can see a lot of shared economy happening here in Indonesia. People being in groups gives them a sense of identity. Together you can solve problems. United, you are able to face adversities much better. So the last one is technology. By the way, I just a reminder to the audience that you can ask questions and in the chat feature, and at the very end I can spend time going through the questions. So this is our last theme. Technology means freedom. Obviously it's a window to the outer world. It is and it allows you to tell your own story in your own unique way. And all Indonesian millennials are hooked to Instagram, so they're taking Instagram worthy pictures, streaming their life through Instagram and Facebook. So you can see that it is not only for freedom but also to support and make a social impact, as you can see from the slide based on our desk research. It also means that it is used quite heavily on a daily basis, 78% use on a daily basis, very active in social media. They trust internet reviews and social media sort of influencer endorsements. So for Rossi, the social media means what, Rossi? Would you like to very quickly, in just one line, say what does technology mean to you?
I can say that technology is something that cannot be separated from my daily basis, because most
Yeah.
of the work, and also because I'm working for tech companies, so I'm also a very active user of the technology. But
Technology is your life. You can't really separate from it, right?
yes,
Okay,
that's the
great.
thing.
And it allows you to remain updated and support and get all the information you seek. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to breeze through this because we are sort of running out of time. So Isan, is there anything else you want to say? It's a platform for freedom for you, isn't it? What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that the social media is the new platform for us to express ourselves, because you can say everything, literally everything, and you have to ready for the consequences also. Like like on the old time, protesting on the street is the choice. Now online campaign is bigger, is massiver, like that.
Correct. Okay, great. So Getsa, for you, what is it that you want to say? One point, just in one line, and we'll move forward.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned it before, it's like a part of our life as the daily life, and I'm sure everybody in this life right now, like they spend at least 3 hours to using social media or even technology, to as helping tools for getting information or for
Just elaborate on
and
toxicity.
also like for the toxicity, this is based on my experience. People are posting something and to showing off to anyone, like
Yeah.
for example, this is my best experience. Let's say 2 days ago I posted a picture and I got 200 likes, and then today I post another picture, I only get 150. And I was like wondering why I got like less likes than 2 days ago. And then like I'm being like insecure, like is there something wrong with it? And I keep like pleasing by anybody, like why, and figure it out
Yeah.
but everything. And
Okay.
and also there's like a trend of people like prank a stranger, something like that, and hurting their feelings,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
even
Understood.
physically. So I think like if you're using it
Okay.
in the right way, it's like social media, it's like helping you as your as a tools, but it could be like a toxic as well
Harmful
if you're
too.
using it
Yeah.
the wrong way. So
Yeah. Okay. So technology is a way of life for us, Indonesian millennials. Technology helps you to learn and grow. Technology helps you self-express. It entertains us. It's recreational. It helps you stay connected. Okay. So I mean, I think in interest of time, I will skip the polling question if you don't mind. So I'll just go through the last part, just a few minutes left now. Favorite brands. For Gatesa, your favorite brand is Mercedes-Benz, right?
yeah.
What's the one word that you'd use to describe it? Why is it your favorite?
So if you don't like, I think everybody know Mercedes-Benz. Like, what the product that they sell, they're offering like the model because they're classy, and I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the technology, like especially for the technology that they install,
Yeah.
because like once I was travel for 6 hours to like before the pandemic from Jakarta to Bandung, and it took like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And on the dashboard there's like a warning, such like a cup of coffee, saying that I need to take a rest. It's not only for the cars as well, but as a driver we need to take a rest. So it's
Yeah.
like a reminder of it.
Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
what they have is also comfortable, like they have more space,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Okay.
also
Understood.
like
Yes.
the interior, and also it's like luxuries. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So you also had this brand, beauty brand.
Yeah, this is Yves Saint Laurent, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken to pronounce
Yeah.
it, or
Yeah.
YSL for short. So the quality of the product that they offering, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like it's really good for, I think, for anyone.
Yeah. This is interesting. Young Living. Why did you choose this?
Yeah, because it's like if you ever heard about it, it's like a diffuser, and we need to put it oil, like essential oils.
Hmm.
It's like every oil have different
Yeah.
purpose to do it, to help you for good health. So for me, why I
Yeah.
choose this brand, because it's like investment for your
Yeah.
health. So why not you
Okay.
choosing that?
So healthy brand. Okay. Isan, you in across all the three, you had localization. Why is localization so important to you?
Because it is easy to you engage your market by you localize your product to the consumer. Yeah. So like Nike, they idolize the athletes, but you the consumer can be the athlete also. And yeah. McDonald's, they localize their menu. We have the different menu in Indonesia. Maybe in India, it's different menu.
Yeah. So and localization is important, you feel.
Localization is important.
Right. Rossi, yeah. Is there anything specific you want to? In any of these? Yeah.
I can actually summarize from 3 of this why I do really like these 3 brands is because the use of it and the relevancy towards my daily needs. For example, like Spotify, I love music, I need it every day. And Tokopedia and Gojek is just like 2 of the most useful apps that we are basically using for every single things that we're doing in our daily basis.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So that sort of, I will summarize a little bit on the brand implications and stitch it all together in saying what are we going to therefore do as a result of learning about Indonesian millennials. I think one thing was very clear. A lot of the Indonesian millennials are seeking experience, and it's important that we stand less for status or a social standing and more promise the experience, which they can which not just memorable, but they're also able to live stream those experiences. Number 2, Indonesian millennials will not be happy with any brand. Like you can see Getsa had Be the Living, you know, that particular brand is aroma, that de-stressing, it makes a difference to her life. So you have to personalize the offer. You can't just produce a mass product and expect Indonesian millennials to take those, accept those products. Technology today is dissolving boundaries. So these experiences need not always be physical experiences, especially in the pandemic situation. So brands must communicate virtual experiences where they can. When things are very hard and difficult like they are now, you always think about the past. So nostalgia is a big theme. So in the new normal, in the current difficult circumstances, you must try and remind Indonesians about their past experiences. They're very often posting pictures of their travel last year or year before last and things like that, reminding themselves the good times. So brands must remind them of their good times, good memories. Then the next one is, we have to certainly make them create stuff for us. You know, it is not a one-way street. So let's co-create brand narratives where Indonesians want to contribute to the brand as much as we want to communicate about ourselves to the millennials. You know, they want to give back their own feedback. They want to contribute, co-create with us. So tap into that urge. Important is nature, authenticity. Don't try to become artificial, wannabes, pretentious. Be clear, unify them together, tap into the social network and remain authentic. Stay on purpose, because social impact is a big deal for Indonesian millennials. So stay on purpose, transcend your natural product qualities, transcend your product features and talk about the larger difference you're making to the society. And importantly, adopt a cheerful, positive tone and stay away from negativity. So with that, I come to the end of the presentation. I'm going to now quickly see if I have any questions. Sorry, I sort of overshot the limits. Yeah, I have one question which I'd like to ask all of you. So any of you can answer this. What's your aspiration in the current, what's been your aspiration so far? And given the fact that pandemic is going to probably interfere that aspiration, what do you feel about it and how are you going to deal with it? It's a difficult question, but how are you coping with it? You know what, Rossi, you were saying, I'll try and remain sane in the pandemic situation. So imagine your aspiration being dashed because of this. So how are you going to stay sane? Where will you look for? Will you change your aspirations? What will happen?
In my case, I was more into adapting with the current situation, so I'm not that easy to give up, especially even with the work that I'm doing, because usually most of the activities were done offline, and now I had to switch everything online with some limitations and stuff. But at the end of the day, I believe that if I plan it carefully and get enough support from my coworkers, nothing is impossible to make it happen. So that's what I do.
Okay. All right. So just another interesting question I have. The remaining two, Isan and Getsa, see if you can take a shot at it. So do you guys look for validation? Do you look for approval from somebody else that you've done well? Particularly Getsa, you said on social media, when you get likes and dislikes, when you get number of likes which are start to fall, then you start feeling insecure. Are you looking for validation from other people around you? Is that or are Indonesian millennials now saying, I don't need validation and I'm being myself? So which of this is true for you or for other people like you?
Okay, so I think the validation, I could say, why people using social media such as Instagram, because like first of all is the purpose for branding. It's easily to branding their self on through social media such as Instagram, because like you easily like help for your job. For example, like you get endorsement, you get paid promote, you like someone can pay you like to earn money and also like become famous, something like that. And why is it like people need validation? I think because I think they want to be like famous.
Yeah. Okay.
Moreover.
All right. Interesting. Okay. One final question. So Isan, maybe you can take a shot at it. Would you call Indonesian millennials call themselves leaders or followers?
Sorry, can you repeat
Would
the
you call
question?
yourself a leader or a follower?
In every situation, we have a leader and we have followers in the social life. Maybe our prime leader is the president, and maybe my follower is my friend, like that. So, but I'm positioning myself as a leader of myself.
Right. Okay. Great. So you're leader of yourself. That's interesting. So you're not necessarily part of. You're not saying that I'm leading or being I'm leading somebody or following somebody. You're basically leading yourself is what you're saying. Okay. Great. All right. So there's a few other questions which probably will get back to you on separately. We'll come back to that. Thank you very much for your time. All the three of you, you've been fantastic in your responses and you've been very interesting in sharing your perspective. I would also like to thank the audience for the time they've given to us and for being involved. We will get back to you with the responses to your questions. Stay tuned and let us know if you want a deep dive into this presentation. I'm happy to come to your offices or speak to your phone and take you through the details. Thank you. Stay safe. That's a wrap now. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.